One of the things that I really like to do with people is teach them the skills of cognitive flexibility and self-compassion. And before we even dive into what is self-compassion, let's just start with compassion. Let's say we're passing a homeless person on the street. So typically the first thing that we need to do is actually notice that there's someone there that's suffering. And then the second aspect of compassion really involves us turning towards that person, really allowing our heart to be touched by them. So whereas empathy often involves us sort of feeling the other feelings of another person, compassion actually involves us feeling those feelings, but then also has that desire, that agentic motive for them to actually not be suffering anymore. Self-compassion has the ability to improve our relationships and our attitudes in precisely the way that science and traditional wisdom tell us are the true paths to happiness and well-being. It actually allows us to comfort and soothe our negative emotions, but even more than that, self-compassion can allow us to revisit and even heal painful memories from the past, which is why they're so important, which is why self-compassion is so important in helping people recover from trauma. It can help us uncover and then rewrite some of our negative core beliefs. So what we do when we actually do self-compassion training, a lot of it involves teaching people about what self-compassion is and certainly dispelling the myths about what self-compassion isn't. So the standard intervention that I'm also trained to deliver is called the Mindful Self-Compassion Curriculum. And then in addition to the mindfulness, we also train people in cultivating loving kindness and self-compassion. But the loving kindness is really, really crucial because for so many of us who are raised with very highly self-critical and perfectionist tendencies, we typically relate to ourselves from a place of self-judgment, maybe from a place of our heads. We're constantly evaluating ourselves. And so the loving kindness actually teaches us an embodied experience of really getting into our hearts. Recognizing that we're suffering is really the first step towards applying self-compassion, because if we don't even know that we're in pain or that we're experiencing some discomfort, we can't actually turn towards ourselves and give ourselves care. Self-compassion has the single biggest impact on well-being than any other single intervention.